In the French capital, Parisians have voted to ban rental electric scooters in a referendum. While the vast majority of ballots supported the ban on the app-activated vehicles, turnout was less than 8%. Officials had promised to comply with the result, making Paris the first major European capital to ban the self-service scooters.
Some 15,000 e-scooters are spread along the streets of Paris, but not for long. Paris is set to become the first major European capital to ban e-scooter rentals. In a mini referendum carried out by the City Hall, only 7% of those eligible turned up to vote. Of those, 90% said no to the self-service scooters. The people of Paris voted overwhelmingly against keeping rental scooters in Paris. They've given us a clear roadmap, and we will follow their decision, as I promised. The scooters, first introduced to the city in 2018, are set to vanish before the end of the summer. But many are reliant on the scooters as a fast, widely accessible, and relatively cheap mode of transport in the densely populated city.
I work in central Paris, and the quickest way to get there right now is on an electric scooter. It takes about 10 minutes from my place to work. If I took a car, I think it would take 45 minutes.
After a spike in road accidents involving scooters, the devices became increasingly controversial. Of those who voted, road safety fears were among the top concerns. I'm here to vote against electric scooters in Paris because I think they're accident-prone for both the users and the pedestrians. In my work, we see a lot of road accidents caused by scooters, so we really see the negative effects. Last year, Paris recorded around 20 million trips on rental scooters. By the end of the summer, they'll have to hit the road for good.
For more on the ban of e-scooter rentals in the French capital, I'm joined now by Sonia Palniker, DW correspondent in Paris. Good to see you, Sonia. 90% of those who voted said no to e-scooter rentals there in Paris. Sounds like Parisians are really eager to get rid of them.
Well, Terry, actually, the answer to that is we frankly don't know. And that's because the turnout yesterday was extremely low, at below 8%. And that seems to, obviously indicate that the majority of Parisians didn't seem to care either way about the issue of rental e-scooters. I went to vote myself in this referendum yesterday. And at my local town hall, I have to say they were mostly older citizens, really up in arms against these rental scooters who had turned out to vote, not many young people who actually use these vehicles. We're also now hearing reactions to this ban. We've heard from the socialist mayor of Paris, Anne Hidalgo, who was campaigning for a no vote. She says, she's delighted by this result. She calls it a good day for democracy. But she's really been slammed by her political opponents who say that instead of this blanket ban on these rental e-scooters, her government should have enforced, stricter rules on their usage. We're also hearing some criticism that the referendum yesterday was only targeted at rental e-scooters and not privately owned ones, whose numbers actually far exceed those of rental scooters, and they're not subject to any kind of regulations at all.
Now, Paris introduced e-scooters, e-scooter rentals already back in 2018. 5 years later, what do we know about accidents, injuries, deaths, problems with these e-scooters on the streets?
Well, it's true. Paris was one of the first cities to really embrace the electric e-scooter, the rental electric e-scooter back in 2018. And back then, there was quite a lot of chaos because there were no rules. We even saw angry residents toss some of these scooters into the Seine River. Today, of course, things are different. Paris has regulated these scooters. There are fines for misuse. But despite all this, accidents involving these e-scooters are steadily on the rise. Last year, the city recorded 408 accidents, nearly 500 people injured, 3 people who died. 2 years ago, we saw a really high-profile accident here in Paris where a pedestrian in central Paris was hit by an e-scooter with 2 people on it, and she was killed. And that case generated a lot of outrage in the city.
Sonia, thank you very much. That was DW correspondent Sonia Falnecker.